Feladat áll levegő, a program hamarosan kezdődik, élvezze.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Your Brain on Air. I'm your host, Ollie Vogt Larson. And folks, Ash Nico, congratulations to her, is free bleeding on stage in Budapest, the capital of Hungary, a very historic city if you know nothing about it. During their performance, I assume that they are non-binary because this article is only referring to them as with they them pronouns. During the performance at Szeged, I'm going to just assume Szeged Festival in Budapest, rapper Ash Nico shares a candid moment. Pink News. What the fuck is this? Let's see.
So everyone knows, I feel like I'm about to start my period. So if I'm sitting at any point on this stage, respect and love, send hearts up to me.
Hell yeah, respect and love.
Free bleeding in Budapest.
Free bleeding in Budapest. Wow. Oh my god. Free bleeding in Budapest.
That was so cute.
What the fuck?
Now, did anyone bring a little trinket boyfriend with them tonight?
What's a trinket boyfriend?
A little trinket boyfriend, yes?
What does that mean?
Raise your hand, you are the trinket boyfriend.
What does that mean?
That's good.
I'm
That's
confused.
Good. That's good.
That's good?
Beautiful. Raise his hand high, baby.
This
Raise
is so
his hand
confusing.
high. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
This woman's very creative. She's expressive. She's, you know... What trinkets? Jesus Christ. You know, people, they are really, I love the performative energy that we're bringing into the 2020s. A lot of the Madonna effect is kind of back, where people are going to do the cone breast things. Is that Express Yourself? I don't remember what music video that was. MTV Generation, let me know. Is that the one where she wears the cone things on her breasts? Whatever. It's like that kind of style of being goofy and out there and trinket-y, I guess. What are trinket? Do they mean sex toys when they say trinkets? That's my assumption. Oliver Tree did not die for this, folks. Free bleeding, if you're unaware, is the practice of menstruating without using traditional period products like tampons, pads, menstrual cups, or any of that junk to kind of block yourself up or collect any of the flow. Instead, individuals allow the menstrual blood to leave the body naturally. Some people do this by wearing absorbent period underwear or dark clothing, while others just let the blood flow directly onto towels or clothes. Fun. It's a natural, if you're very like focused on the Maha movement, if you're a very like Make America Healthy Again, you know that Pampers is out there to give your kid autism. You know that you're the type where it's like you already have known to avoid the measles shot. Sure, your kid got the mumps. That just happens, and plus it's going to make him stronger in the future. Chicken pox, it might lead to shingles in the future. It's going to make him tougher. It's going to make him rougher. He is going to be like a Johnny Cash song, and you're going to have a son that's like you're going to be proud of, ladies and gentlemen. Anyone, by the way, peek at Trump's hair lately. Speaking of male vitality, people have noticed that his hair's looking fuller. It's primmed, almost like he's got product. Or what are the things that like Midwest moms get? Extensions. It looks like he got like the extra volumized extensions at Turn North at Washington Avenue, Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. Not sponsored. They would never want my shout out. I just had like some really solid enough cuts from there. This is not a doxing. It's a recommendation. No bad experiences. I got no clue though who's working there, because it's one of those revolving door spots where like you think that they work by contract or something. Like the person who cut your hair and made the appointment, by next month you text them like, hey, we still on for Friday, and they go, oh, sorry, I moved to Colorado last week. And you go, what? Like, honest though, most places that cut hair are kind of like that. Great Clips, Sport Clips, like most of the time these people just up and suddenly go to Alaska or some shit and go and live with Sarah Palin, and they plan her ascent to dictatorship in 2032. Spoiler alert, sorry. I know you might have thought, she's done, right? She's got, after the John McCain embarrassment, I don't know that there's any coming back from that. She's coming back. guys. She gets knocked down, but she gets up again. You're never going to keep her down. Applause by Lady Gaga was released 13 years ago, officially just 2 days ago. It came out August 12th, 2013. It's crazy. I remember I crushed a lot of the Lady Gaga songs on Just Dance. I crushed Just Dance. I'm just going to be honest with you. I ate. Just Dance was the steak. I ate it. Finished it. It was the John Candy scene in The Great Outdoors. Finished every part of the steak. Dan Aykroyd cheered me on. We talked about UFOs for a while. He told me about the crystal skulls, like the 13 life-sized quartz skulls, where it was like they contain the universal knowledge of the world. And according to the modern myth, if the 13 skulls were reunited, they would reveal the secrets of the universe and like melt the head of whoever got it, because the human brain it can't contain the knowledge of the universe and the knowledge of human destiny, and then whatever. You spend your whole life looking for these things to search for infinite knowledge or whatever, and then like the moment that you get it, you die. Apparently, that's how a lot of quests turn up. You know what I mean? All of those myths about finding the Holy Grail. A lot of the people, I don't remember which night it was. You have to forgive me. It's a Friday, and I'm loose on my knowledge right now. The knight who just ends up dying and ascending to heaven after he sees the Grail. It's like, okay, cool. This never turns out good for anybody. But he told me about how it's like the Mesoamerican relics and whatnot. They're like ancient and what. We went into getting to talking about Ghostbusters 3, and I was like, I pitched him the proper version where you bring back Harold Ramis with me and CGI. Literally, I stand in for a body double with old Egon. You put the digital Harold Ramis face on me. I've seen Rogue One. I've seen all of the shit on HBO. You can bring people back from the dead. I'll work on my voice, or you can get somebody to voice over me. We can make real Ghostbusters 3. No shoddy remakes. No, it's their grandkids pulling off those goofy stunts and whatever. It's like it, but like for, whatever. It's like, I'm just gonna be honest with you. It's not my flavor, but it's like, it's the third one, where it was kind of the third one. What was that? Afterlife or something? It was fine enough. I was like, okay, but it's not the continuation that I wanted. I wanted Rick Moranis back. I wanted Sigourney Weaver back. And I didn't want them to just be like vague cameos. I wanted it to continue the story that we left off back in Ghostbusters 2. I wanted Annie Potts to be there to go, Ghostbusters, what do you want? My movie, my version that Dan and I are cooking up, it's going to crank up the nostalgia factor 10,000 out of 10. Dan, I pitched this to him, and he and I, it came up during dinner with me and my fiance in Duluth last year. It was amazing. He got the T-bone steak with the fresh horseradish. God, it smelled amazing. And the mac and cheese that was like, it had a bit of the spiced smoked paprika and a drizzle of truffle oil at the table. The waiter just poured it right in front of us, and they mixed it in, the cheese wheel and all that shit. I spent a fortune on that dinner. I won't say how much. I'm just going to be honest with you. That'll embarrass him. He got a lot of the lotus flower-shaped cuts of salmon, so I won't out Dan. It was like $2K or something like that. But what do you want me to say? What do you want me to say? It was like at the Harbor 360, guys. Harbor 360, if you don't know. It's the hottest tourist trap in town. It's the revolving restaurant. Look it up in Duluth if you don't know anything about it. You sit and you eat at like a scene in Final Destination where the restaurant falls out of the Space Needle looking place. It was the UFO shaped building. That's why we went there to talk about ETs in Minnesota. Maybe this will influence his future run for governor. Folks, I know he's Canadian, but like, who knows? He wants to also ascend to power. Every person in Hollywood does. That's the dream, folks. You know what? No, I'm not going to out anybody. That's not the Friday energy. What is the Friday energy? The Friday energy is talking about how more Minnesota communities are parting with their flock cameras. We need to start with some good news. A lot of law enforcement agencies are terminating their contracts with flock safety. They are removing automatic license plate reading cameras and escalating public privacy concerns and reports of system abuse. On Thursday, the Sherburne County Sheriff's Office became the latest department to end its use of the automated surveillance network. Department leadership stated that while the technology can assist investigators, protecting community trust outweighs the operational benefits. Particularly, this is like in public opposition and the incidents of camera vandalizing across the state. That's got a lot of them. The local pushback and the coincidences of them all suddenly getting, I don't know, just like sawed down by, I guess, the wind. Like you see that it looks like a bone saw went thrown through these things, and it's like I don't know whether or not I don't know that Mother Nature can do this. It looks like this bamboo bamboo tree. We're not in Southeast Asia right now, but somebody managed to plant bamboo all around the bottom of this flock cam. What is going on? Okay, there was a national safety announcement from Flock Safety Chief Executive Officer Grant Langley. He issued Langley. That's a very, very last name. You know what I mean? If you know your CIA knowledge, and also if you watch American Dad, he issued a public apology following reports that officers across the country had misused the system. In some instances, using it to track and stalk individuals. There's been many reports of it. It's really fun and interesting to know that your local police officers, if they have a vendetta against you, if they have a little crush, they can pull you up in the brand new across the city camera system. It's the scene out of, I haven't seen it yet, but Brand New Day. You know, Peter Parker, he uses the flock cameras and he catches the bad guy, and that's exactly why I'm not into Marvel whatsoever anymore. Unfortunately, it's all everybody knows they're sponsored by the DOJ. Everybody knows that they're sponsored by these people in the government that want you to be supportive of big systems. That's exactly why most of the people that oppose them, they're overly cartoonishly evil and whatnot. Michael Keaton in Homecoming and whatnot, and also who's the other one from the Mysterio? Jake Gyllenhaal from the second Spider-Man one, where it's like these little lesser people, these Amazon, let's call them what they are. They're representatives of Amazon workers and whatnot. They're representatives of the people that are on the lesser side of the spectrum, not the autism spectrum, but they're moving packages while other people sit in offices. You know what I mean? There's just you're a grunt. You know what I mean? You do the hard work while everybody else kind of moves the money around. And that's unfortunately, there's a very anti the workman, anti the consumer, whatever image. Tony Stark is always the badass, always the hero and whatnot. You're meant to sympathize with him with Elon Musk type figures. You're meant to, just have a little more sympathy for the idea of this tortured person who's doing his best to make society better while also maybe occasionally killing a couple cities in the process. It's a very pro US image, but I'm not gonna go too far because I'm worrying that I'm having the Havana syndrome drone thing pointed at my head right now. I'm really worried about that. Apparently it can cause bubbling in your head and it can cause this thing similar to decompression sickness, and I'm not into that. That's not what I'm all about. In response, the company is rolling out new security protocols set to take effect by the end of the year. Updates will reduce a default data retention from 30 days down to 7. That's still not enough. Why do you even have it for 7? Requiring officers to input specific case numbers before running searches and automatically locking out users flagged for abnormal search activity. Despite the proposed safeguards, though, civil liberty organizations, public interest, legal groups are remaining skeptical, characterizing policy shifts as insufficient to address fundamental surveillance concerns. Critics are contending, not pretending. They are contending that giving police officers a unilateral discretion to search license plate history without a court warrant leaves room for ongoing misuse as municipal leaders across Minnesota are evaluating their public safety budgets and community standards. Oh yeah, and the $2 billion budget that we're seeing out of Minneapolis. Great job, Jacob Fry. Several additional jurisdictions are expected to vote on whether or not to retain or decommission their automated camera networks in the coming weeks.
Years ago, we founded Flock with one mission: build safer communities.
These surveillance cameras make your community
build safer communities. We want to see you all the time. We want to be the Eye of Sauron. You are the little Frodo. You occasionally, you play with the idea of putting the ring on. You play with the idea of going onto our porn sites and going onto our social media platforms and whatnot. And then the moment that you go on Instagram, it's I see you. The moment you leave your house, it's I see you. If you have an Amazon that has a camera in it, if you have a Amazon that has a microphone in it, if you have your phone around you because it's constantly recording you, it's constantly sending it your voice back to Apple. We have confirmation that this is real. If you are around any piece of technology, or if you are in any view of any sort of, if you're in view of your laptop, for God's sakes, or your smart TV, the CIA can use that, even if it's turned off, to turn it into a microphone. You are always under the Eye of Sauron. We always see you.
Build safer communities.
Do these surveillance cameras make your community safer, or do they go too far?
Do they?
Joining us, city after city is pulling the plug on flock cameras. Some people, like this guy, are even breaking the law and taking matters into their own hands.
How many cameras do you think you've...
Like 35, 36?
New Lieutenant Ashley Graham spoke to that mass vandal. Ashley, I know that you talked to him after the Flock CEO admitted his company made some mistakes.
Yeah, and because of that misuse, he said Flock systems will only hold data for a week instead of a month unless there's an investigation. They'll also limit searches by outside agencies and put new guardrails in place to flag abnormal searches, but it's already too late for many Minnesota cities.
I think hindsight
Too late.
is a brutal tool. But hindsight tends to be very clear. And I think, of course, we could have done more earlier. And we listen and we learn.
And we learn.
Move forward, because until everyone has an equal level of safety in this country,
Oh.
we have work to do.
Uh-oh.
Thursday, the CEO of Flock apologized for instances where data has been misused, including in some cases where police officers allegedly use the technology to stalk women.
How
He said the
sorry are
company is
you?
rolling out changes to its system, but several Minnesota communities have already cut the cord. On Thursday, Sherburne County joined the growing list to drop the controversial cameras within the past few weeks, saying while it can be a useful tool for public safety, there's a growing backlash.
They take our information, they're tracking us. I think it's an invasion of privacy.
That backlash is clear online. These videos have racked up millions of views, showing a man damaging flock cameras in Minnesota.
You know, you can't go outside without the government knowing where you are. You can't do anything without it being tracked.
This is crazy having like no mark on the news. This is as though this is kind of defeating the Batman image, but that's okay. It's not like it's not wholeheartedly making him look ridiculous, but it is a little bit like, imagine if they managed to get like it's more of a Spider-Man effect. Like Spider-Man, I would expect would go on the news. You know what I mean? He's going with kind of this darker image where it's like it's the skull. Like what's it called? He's always wearing like maybe goggles or something like that. But he's also like, you can tell just like he looks like a bit of a scrawnier, tall white boy. You know what I mean? He's got the hoodie on and whatnot that's kind of bulkier, so you can't really define his frame. He's also got the the baggier pants and whatnot. But he also it looks like a Punisher kind of look. But I'm just gonna be honest with you, his voice, his kind of like his build and whatnot, his actual like presentation and whatnot, it's giving way more Spider-Man hero than Batman hero. Do you know what I mean? Not meant to be an insult whatsoever. He's still doing his thing.
He wouldn't share his name or show his face, though he says police know who he is. So
Uh-oh.
you were arrested for damaging flock cameras.
Yes, they saw my videos and they got a warrant from my videos to raid my house.
In Stearns County.
Oh, it sounded like he said rape my house. Jesus, raid your
They
house.
saw my videos and they got a warrant from my videos to raid my house.
In Stearns County, an 18-year-old was charged with a felony for cutting down a law enforcement camera that reads license plates. In Faribault, another man is facing charges accused of stealing a flock camera and trying to break it.
I know it's risky. It's something I think is important. I don't like the direction we're heading.
Me neither,
Police
man.
agencies have said these cameras are critical in combating crime, and Flock says over the years they've helped investigators track down tens of thousands of missing people. But for many in Minnesota, the debate is still on: privacy or safety.
That's what they want you to think the debate is. They want you to think that the idea is, oh, you're either this nut who's cutting down our cameras or you're compliant. There's like, no, you can also, you can speak out against it. You can make sure that there are, if somebody needs somewhere, don't aid and abet. Don't do anything like that. Don't do anything, I'm not telling you to go cover up these flock cameras. I'm not telling anybody to do anything. Plus, this is a satire show, so we're allowed to have fun, folks. Make it known, however it is you like to make it known, that you don't want these things in your community. Have fun with it. Have fun with it. Get creative. That's what I mean. Folks, actually, I have this. I do have a couple of words from the CEO of Flock Cameras himself. Let's take a listen.
You cannot hide. I see you. There is no life in the void. Only death.
We'd like to thank the CEO of Flock Cameras for his words today, ladies and gentlemen. He had to take a lot of time out of his schedule. I think he's building a mine right now to birth orcs in. Ladies and gentlemen, well, he's not doing it. He's doing it through his other servants like Sam Altman. Sam Altman, I believe, he doesn't have the beard for it, but he does have this kind of manic presence that the white wizard would need to have. Not Gandalf the White. You know what I mean? Saruman. You know what I mean? I don't know. We're having fun. It's a Friday, ladies and gentlemen. A ruling. Now, speaking of fun, you're going to be able to have fun now thanks to a new ruling that allows Americans to own short-barreled rifles, shotguns, silencers, all without a registration. This is, deregulation it's taking effect. A lot of people want it. A lot of people, they want guns easier. And, who can blame them? Who can blame them, especially when there's a growing sense of disorder. There's a growing sense that we're going to need to maybe in the next couple years, maybe there's the idea that there's no government. There's the idea that we will need some level of survival, because who knows where things will go if the fronts unite on the Ukraine, because we have these issues where these two wars are seemingly getting closer together. They're uniting through Azerbaijan and all these other territories, the Caspian Sea region. If Russia gets tied into this, you officially are having kind of this eruption of World War III. And, we don't know where it goes from there. We have no idea where this war could actually take us. These are two major fronts that I think not many people are considering have the potential to get as big as they probably will. Or maybe I'm not trying to fearmonger, but I'm just trying to say that there's a reality where a lot of people are going, there's a very Fallout reality coming. Play the Fallout games, specifically preferably Fallout 3 over Fallout 4. It's a little stripped down and whatnot, but if you're new to things and you're not really used to to getting into game mechanics, sure, I guess Fallout 4, but whatever. It doesn't matter. We're talking about like a reality where people are trading bottle caps instead of other currencies because you can't reproduce them. It's a stock. It's like a basic thing that you can carry around easily. They're like coins or whatever. We're dealing with a future where you're going to be scrounging for food. We're going to be dealing with a future where you can't grow your own food because the soil has been covered in a top layer of ash. It's going to be Mount St. Helena, except the ground is now poisoned, unfortunately. It's not just volcano ash. It is, it's nuclear. It's, there's a real reality where like the next couple hundred years are not going to look the same, but who knows? It depends on everything's like Hiroshima. Then there's a reality where we do survive this, but there's a couple years where shit gets weird. There's a couple years where we might all need a federal pardon because there's a reality where if the bombs all fell, you got to defend yourself and your family from, your neighbors who are going to be looking for somewhere that's going to have some unprotected food. You know what I mean? Maybe have some people that they can start like a human farm with and farm you like cattle and whatnot and eat you. Like maybe there's going to be cannibalism in a couple of years because our future just got out of control and people decided to get a little nutty. And it takes a couple of years. It'll take like a few decades in order for like a real world government to be established where it's there. I understand that all the flock cameras, they're not going to be that useful because there's not going to be a police force because it's going to be tough to rally behind. It's going to be, they're going to need AI. They're going to need these robots that are all human shaped in order to pin you down. They're going to need all of those to be their workforce, and they are going to be the ones that are hunting us all down. They're going to be the ones that are reestablishing cities. They're going to be the ones that are in the metropolitan area. It is going to be a Terminator-like future where Skynet is fighting to establish what the oligarchies and whatnot around the world are trying to establish right now, a one world government, and they will get it by crushing the little rebels of human beings that are out there in the desert, out there in the forests, out there in the prairies of the world and whatnot. If you do not comply, if you do not join us, if you do not become a civilian, if you haven't played Half-Life 2, you know what I mean? It's very much a Combine situation. That's what it's like. Okay, we're all going to be wearing like, prison type uniforms. We're all going to be issued like our food substances, which is going to be like 78% bug. It's going to be a scary time to be alive because we're going to be huddled into these cities where if you do not comply, if you're captured and it's answer now. They literally put a needle up to your neck and they go, we are going to inject the fluid that is going to kill you in a microsecond because it's a neurotoxin. You will either comply, you will come with us to City 17, you will wear the uniform, you will be an organ harvesting thing where maybe we're going to take a couple kidneys, maybe a lung or two, so that we can service the overlords and they can continue to live life extended. By the way, the overlords, they're going to be living like underground in underground cities and whatnot until the fallout, gets cleaned up by the robots up on the top of the earth and whatnot. But otherwise, we're going down, once you're captured, you're going down there with them. You're not going to see sunlight. You're going to be fed vitamin D, vitamin C to keep you healthy and whatnot. Healthy enough. You're not going to get very much food, but they need organs to be alive. They need you to be alive. And all of these 115-year-olds, all these people that were born in like 1945, they're going to be, let's call it actually, maybe like 1960 something. It's all these Bill Gates type figures, all these Jeffrey Epstein types. They are going to continue to farm the people that they capture from the surface. They're going to feed you stuff to get rid of the radiation in your body, and you're going to be an organ harvesting plant, essentially. You're going to be this thing that they can pull from. You're an allo plant. Rip an arm off if this person needs an arm, take out a lung, do this, and then they're going to keep you alive with the life-extending technology. Maybe eventually they'll have to sew your head to a pig or something like that, but they'll keep your body alive and whatnot. It'll be it'll be a nightmare. It'll be a movie, but, it'll be very much like The Road, Cormac McCarthy, but it'll be corporatized and whatnot. And eventually there will be a reestablishment of something similar to society, except it'll look exactly like the Frutiger Aero cities, except you always wonder why the Frutiger Aero cities look so empty, even though it's like, oh, that's a big city. Why are there no people walking around? It's because the tech oligarchs wanted to get you used to the idea that the future is only going to be a few of those guys and their families walking around. Most of us are going to be crushed. We're going to be in organ harvesting hospitals. We're going to be unseen to the people that are walking around raising their families. They had $50 billion before the bombs dropped. They built up their Frutiger Aero big skyscraper cities with big green valleys and beautiful blue skies after they cleaned up the atmosphere for themselves. And then all of us, the ordinary people that, couldn't get enough money, to join their ranks back in the 2010s, but about like 30 years before the bomb dropped. And then, we're going to be the offspring our offspring will continue to be this cattle race where the elite will harvest our organs whenever necessary, and then they will live in their beautiful little utopia that they've built for themselves all across the earth. I'm sorry to paint this image for you. I know that it doesn't seem very interesting, but in the meantime, in that little interim period, that 15 to, maybe 20 years it takes for the robots to crush all of the human rebels, they want to be able to fight. They want to be able to fight with their short-barreled rifles, their silencers on their handguns, and all of the short-barreled shotguns. Without federal registration, by the way, under the National Firearms Act for the first time in nearly a century. The order went into effect after the Department of Justice, the DOJ, declined to request an immediate stay before a 7-day deadline set by a federal judge in Texas expired. U.S. District Judge James Wesley Hendricks ruled that the federal government's registration, background check, and fingerprinting requirements under the 1934 National Firearms Act exceeded constitutional authority. The judge concluded that because Congress historically enacted those regulations under its federal taxing power, the regulatory framework lost its constitutional backing once Congress eliminated the $200 permit tax on those specific firearms and accessories last year. Gun rights organizations, including the Gun Owners Association of America and the NRA, have celebrated the decision as a massive victory for the Second Amendment. Groups are confirming members have already lawfully purchased suppressors without filing traditional registration paperwork. Controversially, gun violence prevention organizations, including Giffords and Brady, condemned the decision and the administration's choice not to pause the ruling, warning that removing federal oversight on specialized weapons threatens public safety. While the injunction is currently protecting parties involved in the lawsuit and their customers, the Justice Department can still appeal the ruling to higher courts as the broader legal challenge continues. I don't see a reality where they do, though. This is kind of a victory for them. They're big, Second Amendment folks.
Some Americans can now own short-barreled rifles, shotguns, and silencers without registering them with the federal government. Last week, a federal judge in Texas ruled the registration requirements under the National Firearms Act are unconstitutional. This act is the primary law that regulates the purchase and sale of certain specialized weapons and equipment. The judge gave the Justice Department until today to appeal, but for now it chose not to. A DOJ spokesperson told CBS News, quote, The department respects Americans' Second Amendment rights and is currently assessing the impact of the ruling. CBS News legal contributor Jessica Levinson joins us now. She's also a professor at Loyola Law School. So why is the judge saying that this part of the National Firearms Act is unconstitutional?
So the judge is saying that's actually not based on the Second Amendment. I know we all look at a statute that deals with gun control and we think Second Amendment. This is about whether or not Congress had the power to enact this statute and whether it continues to have that power. As we've talked about, when it comes to the federal government, you have to point to part of the Constitution that allows it to act. When it comes to Congress, there are certain enumerated, meaning listed powers. One of those is the taxing clause, and there used to be basically a $200 tax or fee that people who were making transactions or purchases related to these short barrel guns or silencers had to pay.
No longer.
In 2025, in the big, beautiful bill, Congress zeroed out that tax, so you're not paying $200 anymore. What the judge said today, or this week, is that when it comes to Congress using its taxing clause power, you need to have some tax. You need to have something that raises revenue. And when you zero that out in the big, beautiful bill, there is no more tax. So Congress no longer has a power that it can use to pass or at least continue to enact this part of the statute.
The Supreme Court has been skeptical of whether federal judges have the power to impose nationwide injunctions. So who does this apply to?
So this only applies to the plaintiffs in this case, but these plaintiffs include groups and individuals beyond just the Northern District of Texas, where the judge made the decision. So, for instance, there's one group of plaintiffs, gun owners in America, YBOA, and that includes a great number of individuals who are covered by this particular ruling. In addition, there are 15 states that are plaintiffs. Now, not everybody in each of those states is covered, but state agencies are. So this is not a nationwide injunction, but in effect, it covers a good deal of plaintiffs who get the benefit of this decision.
Is this the end of the road if the Justice Department doesn't step in?
So this is fascinating because it actually might be. The Justice Department opted not to challenge the particular ruling, at least on an emergency basis. We're all looking to see if the Justice Department appeals this. As we have talked about, why does that mean that maybe there's nobody left to challenge this judge's decision? Because you need standing in federal court. And what you would need briefly is a plaintiff that has enough of an injury in order to say, I can bring this case. And if we're looking at, who are we looking at here? Individuals, members of Congress, maybe states. I see standing problems with each of those groups. So it may be if the DOJ doesn't appeal that this is the end of the road for this particular case with this particular judge.
Well, how fun.
As always, thank you.
As always, thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move on to the rapid fire section of today's headlines. A lot of things going on in the world that you need to know about in order to keep your media diet healthy. Luigi Mangione, folks, he has pleaded guilty. He has said, I did it. I'm not going to fight it.
Right before that was the other thing that we've been talking about this morning, and that's the allocution, where Luigi Mangione was asked by the judge to explain what he did, and his description is chilling. I'm going to read a little bit of it. This is from our producer who's in court transcribing it. He said this, Luigi Mangione said this: in November, I traveled to Manhattan. I emailed UHC leadership, that's United Healthcare leadership, posing as an investor with millions in assets. I received a response before traveling to New York. He says he used a 3D printer to make a gun and silencer. He then emailed UHC back, and he had the intent, he told the judge, of shooting Brian Thompson on the morning of December 4th, 2024. He says, I shot Mr. Thompson in Manhattan in his back. The judge has...
Well, okay, he's detailing his crimes, ladies and gentlemen. He officially has told the judge, he's told everybody, I did it. I'm done with the joke. I'm done with everybody making thirst traps of me. Actually, I'm not done with that. Keep sending that shit to me because I'm going to see it in jail. That's what he will see it in.
Mangione
is starting to speak, according to our team there. We don't know much about what's being said, but I can just tell you the first words we're hearing out of his mouth after answering a series of questions, saying yes and no to various questions. After years of enduring severe pain with the back and witnessing the healthcare system, on December 4th, I went to an investor conference, specific location that was not publicly disclosed. The judge interrupts, I can't hear you, and he continues to speak. We don't have any more than that right now, but this is certainly going to be perhaps the most captivating part of this, is actually hearing Mangione say what happened as he prepares to lay out this guilty plea. Leading up to this moment, the judge has been asking a series of questions over the course of several minutes. First, trying to better understand sort of his state of mind and make sure that he's in condition, asking, have you been treated for addiction? Any drugs, alcohol, or pills in the last 2 days?
He just looks like he's on drugs, alcohol, and pills the entire time. I'm just going to be honest. I never understood people thirsting over this man. He's a dirty guinea. I know people are like, no, he's a hottie. Italians are the hottest. They're swarthy. They got olive oil covered skin. I know that's more Greek, but it's still them.
Guilty. That's the plea today in federal court for the man charged with shooting and killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in New York in 2024. Luigi Mangione was charged with 2 counts of stalking resulting in death. They carried a potential life sentence. Mangione still faces separate murder charges in the New York State case.
There's also the third bucket possibility here. The defense knew this was a very strong federal case, and what they're trying to do, even though I think this is a difficult battle, I think what they're trying to do is say he's already been prosecuted for this course of conduct, so the state cause of action, the state murder charge, cannot continue.
The state case in New York is set to begin in just a few weeks. Mangione's attorneys have requested it be thrown out. The district attorney says they are still moving forward. Sentencing for Mangione in the federal case is set for December. In a statement, the family of Brian Thompson called the plea a, quote, important step towards justice. It says, while nothing will ease the pain of losing him, we are grateful that the federal justice system has held the person responsible for his heinous act accountable.
Why don't they, lock up the people defending them as well? I'm not saying that, I know they might be public attorneys. I know they might be, but whatever. Sometimes you actually have the person who, hired this person out, and the person had to look at the case and go, I'm going to defend this murderer. Can't we put them in chains too, just to make, how mentally stable are you? I don't know how much I can trust you. Folks, across the pond, in a wild special election, Count Binface challenged the Reform Party's Nigel Farage, and unfortunately, he lost in the United Kingdom. Farage, he won back his seat after resigning from Parliament last month in order to avoid an investigation into his finances, keeping it above board. The candidate for Parliament, Count Binface, joined Kathy Tur, I don't know how to pronounce her name, I'm sorry, to share more information.
Joining us now is Count Binface. He is running against Nigel Farage and more than 24 other candidates to represent the town of Clacton in UK Parliament. Count Binface, it's really good to have you. Just first question up top. What made you become Count Binface over Lord Buckethead? What happened to Lord Buckethead?
Well, good question. Firstly, it's lovely to meet you, Katie, and all your
Christ, he is English.
fantastic viewers. My goodness me, you have a lot of adverts in America, don't you?
Adverts.
And I should just say at the start, this is definitely the hollow deck on my starship, not a budget hotel in Clacton-on-Sea. Let's just make that absolutely clear. Also, here's a little scoop for you. Due to broadcasting rules, I can't...
By the way, that's correct. It's called Clacton-on-Sea. It's not actually just Clacton. That's how we pronounce it, and that's how some people do. What's what they call it? If they're shortening it up, but it's Clacton-on-Sea if they're being fun. I didn't know. It's in Essex, England.
Taught on British television until 10 p.m. UK time. It's currently just nearly 8 o'clock. So through a lovely little loophole, I can talk to America first. How cool is that? But as for the old Buckethead snafu, yes, well, when I first came to Earth in 2017, I thought if I came down like this, I might freak out the humans. So I adopted a disguise of this Lord Buckethead, a title that had lain dormant for 25 years, and that went very well. I ended up on Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. But then there was an unfortunate battle on the planet copyright, so I respawned in my true guise. And Katie, I'm the first politician in history to feel better after kicking the bucket.
Oh, that's fun, ladies and gentlemen. I would argue Lady G is still feeling pretty good. I'd argue that he's having a better time wherever he is right now because, according to the Freemason rituals that he attended, he was likely to transcend after his death into some sort of purgatory-like state until he defeated his greater demons and all that sort of stuff. So I don't know. He might be having a pretty terrible time beating his homosexual demons. I don't know. The Minnesota Chamber of Commerce is spotlighting products like Wiley Wallaby. I never buy these things. Wiley Wallaby. They're made in Purim for being the coolest thing made in Minnesota. That's ridiculous. Licorice is, how is that even close? Dude, Four Brothers chocolate, that stuff's delicious. Is that North Dakota? It might be North Dakota. I don't care.
We have Willie's Wallaby licorice that's out of Purim, Minnesota, and they produce 18 million pounds of licorice out of Purim. And this is one of my favorite go-tos, especially for a road trip, I would say. Like, eat this. Like, there's no better licorice, and especially made in Minnesota.
That's so fun. Velveeta.
A lot of folks think this is made on the East Coast. Yeah, it's actually out of New Ulm. So New Ulm, they're making 300 million pounds of cheese loaf out of their location since the 50s. So when it comes to that football season and you're making your great dips, just feel proud that it's made in Minnesota.
Velveeta? Who's proud of this? I'm sorry to say, Velveeta is like bottom tier mac and cheese. Bottom tier. I would rather get the stuff that gives you cancer from Aldi's. The stuff that like you can buy from a box that has sludge already in it. I'm sorry to say that stuff, it freaks me a teensy bit out. And we're all entitled to our opinions. Folks, this came across my feed and I wanted to share it with you. Eminem's anti-Trump freestyle from 2017. Listen, this is 9 years old. And I find it, people uploading this, it's called Now This Impact. They clearly are very proud of it. They said, we're still living this nearly 9 years later or something. I think that they're like I understand being anti-Trump. This is cringe anti-Trump. Just take a listen for yourself.
Trump, when it comes to giving this, you're stingy as I am. Except when it comes to having the balls to go against me, you hide them. Cause you don't got the nuts like an empty asylum. Racism's the only thing he's fantastic for. Cause that's how he gets his rocks off and he's orange. Yeah, 6'10". That's why he wants us to disband, cause he cannot withstand the fact we're not afraid of Trump. Walking on eggshells, I came to stomp. That's why he keeps screaming, drain the swamp, cause he's in quicksand.
What?
It's like we take a step forwards, then backwards. But this is his form of distraction. Plus he gets an enormous reaction when he attacks the NFL, so we focus on that, and instead of talking Puerto Rico with reform from Nevada, all these horrible tragedies, and he's bored and would rather cause a Twitter storm at the Packers than says he wants to lower our taxes. Then who's gonna pay for his extravagant trips back and forth with his fam to his golf resorts and his mansions? Same that he tormented Hillary for and he slandered, then does it more. From his endorsement of banning support for the Klansmen, tiki torches in hand for the soldier that's black and comes home from Iraq and is still told to go back to Africa. Fork and a dagger in this racist 94-year-old grandpa.
Oh, man. Heat. I guess that's heat, man. Heat. Ladies and gentlemen, Delta 8 THC, I'm just moving right on. Delta 8 THC flower and other popular hemp-derived THC products are now illegal in Texas. Potential penalties including jail time, fines up to $10,000. Delta 9 products are still legal for now, but the hemp businesses are still, they're like angry about it because a lot of their shelves are empty. A lot of people want to get high in Texas. And now, I know Delta 8, THCA, I've done both. I went over to Wisconsin, Superior, Wisconsin, to this incredible shop, and we got brownies. Oh my goodness. 250 milligrams THCA. I understand that Delta 8, Delta 9, and all of this stuff is horrific for your mental health, according to some of the studies that are out there, but who knows who's made those studies, but let's be honest, it might have done some really catastrophic damage with the fact that I've done a lot of milligrams of that. I took one of those brownies whole. I remember my fiance did as well. She woke up in the middle of the night not seasoning. She was not seasoning a chicken. She was seizing. Her muscles could not stop moving. It was like shaky leg, restless leg syndrome. It was terrifying. But that's what too many milligrams of THCA will do to you. It will get you feeling wacky. She couldn't walk to the car the next day. I had to help her on the way. I'm surprised no one called the police. It looked very suspicious. Got like helping a woman who looks barely conscious to your car while you load up a bunch of bags in the back. It looks a little suspect. I understand you're in a motel, so a lot of people just assume you're drunk. So like that's what I would assume also if I saw somebody doing that. Let's hear a teensy bit about how Dallas Morning News is feeling about this, because they're reporting the side of people who are feeling scorned.
That little THC gummy in your pocket? Depending on what's in it, it could now cost you up to $10,000 in fines due to new state restrictions in Texas. Here's what changed, and why that legal fight is far from over. As of July 31st, new Texas regulations officially took effect, banning the sale and possession of several hemp-derived THC products, including Delta-8, Delta-9, THCP, and THCA flower. If you've been buying those products legally over the past few years, they're now considered illegal under Texas law.
Illegal.
But not all THC products are banned. These items are still legal.
Gummies, drinks, all that.
Could get you hit with a felony.
Delta 8 products, Delta 10 products, THCP, HHC, THCA, and other synthetic THC variants.
If you're caught possessing one of these newly banned products, even if you purchased it legally last month, you could be charged with a state jail felony, punishable by 180 days to 2 years in jail and fines up to $10,000. So, why the sudden change? Back in 2019, Texas legalized hemp under rules tied to the federal farm bill. That sparked a billion-dollar hemp industry in Texas built around products like Delta-8. Then in 2021, Texas health officials classified many of those manufactured THC cannabinoids as Schedule I controlled substances. But a court blocked enforcement while the case played out. Then in May, the Texas Supreme Court ruled that the state has the authority to make that classification, but the story isn't over. Just days after the rules took effect, hemp retailers and distributors sued Texas in federal court. They argue that the state is violating that 2018 Farm Bill, creating confusion between legal hemp and illegal marijuana, and unlawfully restricting interstate commerce. They're also asking a federal judge to temporarily block enforcement while the case moves forward. So yes, some THC products are still legal in Texas, but thousands of others just became illegal overnight. And now the next battle is heading to federal court.
Fun. You know, if you're a Texan right now, I feel bad because everybody deserves to get a little high. Everybody deserves to have a gummy if you're having pain or anything like that. Don't go nutty with it. Don't break your brain. But, like, have fun. Everybody likes to have fun. Hegseth is reacting to some scary concerns about the USS Abraham Lincoln shortages and bad conditions, apparently. It's just not going so good on that place. It's been deployed for more than 250 days.
Heading towards the Middle East, as concerning reports emerge about another warship, the USS Abraham Lincoln. The aircraft carrier has been at sea supporting the war in Iran for more than 250 days. That's nearly 9 months.
Wow.
There have been reports of food shortages, broken plumbing, and mental health crises on board. The Navy also confirmed a sailor went overboard earlier this month. CBS News political reporter Zach Hudak is live in our D.C. bureau with...
We're going to hear horror stories about this ship in the future. It'll be TikTok horror stories. It'll be like those things that you put on YouTube in order to fall asleep or listen to them to freak yourself out around October. Spooky season is coming up because, you know, October's always fun as shit. Pumpkin spice shit's already coming out. I am hype. I'm having a great time. I love that we start to celebrate August and fall and whatnot a little bit closer, all of those things. I like the orange colors. They start to come back out. It's very fun for me. But ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna hear like scary stories about this. So there's gonna be like a man went crazy on the USS Abraham Lincoln, and I don't know what else to say. He killed his entire family with an axe. They were there somehow.
More on this, Zach. Good morning. What can you tell us about these reports of horrible conditions on the Lincoln, and is the White House acknowledging them?
Michael, our Pentagon team has been reaching out consistently to families of folks who've been stationed on the Lincoln, hearing a lot of different things. Among them are that there are food shortages and supply shortages, that, you know, it's difficult to go to the store and buy basic necessities such as toothpaste or body wash. There was someone who one of our Pentagon reporters spoke to who said that earlier conditions were worse, and they've actually gotten a little bit better in recent times, so that was a little bit of an outlier in the discussions. But all of these claims were pushed back on yesterday by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. Here's what he had to say.
Completely misrepresented. Listen, we make sure that every ship, every crew, every captain has everything we can provide them at every single moment. Some deployments are longer than others, and I have more respect and gratitude for those sailors than anybody.
I was going to say, he looks so unprofessional because he does not have the top button unbuttoned, which looks a little classy and cool if you don't have a tie. He has the top two buttons unbuttoned in his shirt for some reason. It makes him look overly casual.
Well, I think the thing to focus on in that response is that the Secretary does point out that this is a particularly long deployment. This is 250 days and over 200 days since it's been to port. That is, even among the family member who we spoke with who spoke a little bit positively in recent times, that person said, look, this is still a terrible strain mentally to be out there just that long. It is infrequent. Typically, these deployments go on for 6 months, maybe even 8 months, but this is really stretching it to a point that it's clear has become a strain on these service members who are out there day after day without much of a reprieve from the sea.
And Zach, Democrats are now demanding answers. What are they saying?
What are they saying?
They're making a couple different efforts. We saw Richard Blumenthal, a senator from Connecticut, write a letter to Pete Hegseth demanding a list of answers. He wants to know about food conditions, about safety. He also wants to know what the operational justification is to put sailors through hardship like this. Is the outcome so great that it is worth it to put our service members in particularly uncomfortable positions?
You know, unfortunately, best wishes to the people who are stuck out on that boat. Imagine that. You're sitting out, it's summer, 2026. You should be at home having a good time at the lake. Meanwhile, you're sitting out there in, the Persian Gulf, the Gulf of Oman. You're riding around the Iranian coastline, and you're trying to reestablish a bit of the American frontier, the justice line that everybody can rely on. We're supposed to be the protectors of the water. We're supposed to protect trade, all of that stuff, that junk that we lied about mostly after World War II. We never really had the abilities that we claimed to have to, establish world peace. That was never going to work out for us. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to our final story of the day so that you can continue to have a teensy bit of a free Friday and do whatever it is that you like. There's a lot of concern about the digital surveillance state being assisted by people that are wearing Meta's AI glasses. These are things that are very similar to Google Glass, but they are now cool for some reason because they look like Buddy Holly glasses or something. They're designed in collaboration with major eyewear brands like Ray-Ban. They have sleek frames that are designed to look nearly identical to designer glasses while discreetly housing high-definition cameras, microphones, and artificial intelligence tools. So, there's millions of units of these being sold. Seamless blending of consumer tech with a lot of daily fashion has made hands-free recording easier than ever. There's a lot of TikTok videos going around with the people that are wearing these things. And the core of the controversy, though, is people are like, I don't consent to being filmed surreptitiously. You know what I mean? That's not for me. The Meta is pointing to the idea that, well, hey, we give you a little LED blinking light that blinks whenever the recording is active. So, that somebody's violating your privacy. You know what? Who knows how the data is being handled? A lot of people are going, the footage is used to prompt the AI glasses assistant to send stuff to cloud servers where third-party contractors can review and label image captures. They can go, what is this an image of? Have this computer scan through it. Maybe keep it in our records for some reason. A lot of reports are of individuals having their privacy violated with these and being recorded without their permission are happening all over the place, all over social media platforms. It has led to a crackdown on non-consensual content filmed with these devices. In response to privacy risks, a growing number of private establishments and public institutions are pushing back venues ranging from the high-end restaurants, pubs, theaters, judicial courtrooms in England and Wales have already instituted explicit bans on wearing smart glasses indoors. For its part, Meta is saying that privacy is built into the product's design. They're pointing to the security protocols that disable the camera if the LED indicator is tampered with. However, people still aren't thinking that they're doing enough. You know what I mean? A lot of convenient technology that is introducing the invasive surveillance state onto people's faces. That feels a little uncomfortable. Did you just try to interrupt me, Hallie Jackson of NBC News? Fine, whatever. I'm actually going to let you just say it because I don't have time for this. We're trying to wrap it up.
It's what many thought the future would look like.
The Back to the Future.
Wearable technology, not just pictured on the silver screen anymore, but mirrored in real life. Meta's latest AI glasses look unsuspecting, even stylish. The company collaborating with Ray-Ban, a product that intrigued Breck Metra and her family.
When my husband got them, I mean, we have kids, so he was like, it would just be fun to, like, in the moment, be able to, like, capture something that you don't have to pull out your phone.
A great idea until they were used in her home by someone else.
That still looks small to me, but
She said she and her husband sell vintage t-shirts online, often from their own living room. But while making a sale at her home in Utah, she didn't realize it was all recorded until it was posted to social media.
Uh-oh.
Usually you can, like, tell if there's a light on when they're recording. Again, I didn't notice that at all. So initially I was just I felt like kind of violated. My kids were in it. He kind of blurred them out, but he didn't in some of the shots.
She asked the content creator to delete the post, and instead she says he blocked her. She escalated it to Instagram, also owned by Meta.
I filed a complaint and I sent them the video and the screenshot. They sent me an auto email back saying thank you, and then we'll look into it.
After a family member also complained to the user, the video was deleted, but not before it racked up some tens of thousands of views, Breck says. We were unable to reach the person who posted the video for comment, and Instagram didn't comment directly on this situation.
I assume they wouldn't.
Breck is not alone. The internet is inundated with videos just like it. Usually more flirty encounters.
So I just want to let you know you're a very beautiful young lady.
Women getting approached by men on the street, asking for their names, or even for a date. With some women saying they had no idea that casual conversation was being used for content.
Didn't know he was recording me.
In the United States, people cannot expect to have much of a right to privacy in public places. And in most states, you can legally record your conversation with someone without their permission.
Unfortunately, the sorts of protections that exist right now are not really robust in allowing people to have videos taken down.
Meta, in a blog post, seems to recognize a certain amount of transparency is welcome, noting that every pair of its glasses has a small LED light that blinks when the user takes a video or snaps a picture.
Meta Ray-Ban display.
Those lights can be easily obscured and removed. NBC News found listings across at least 30 states offering services to do just that. But in a recent update, Meta announced a new privacy feature that shuts some generations of the glasses off if the device detects that the LED light is being tampered with. Across social media, some are suggesting women play copyrighted music to avoid being on camera.
We all know that Disney goes after people that don't license their music, right?
A sly tactic that could prevent some content from being uploaded on platforms like YouTube and TikTok. Instagram, though, reportedly cracking down on some of the videos shot by Meta glasses. Its CEO saying the pickup artist prankster-style videos would be banned from the app.
We don't want people to be surreptitiously taking videos of other people and harassing them and then posting them on our platform.
Meta told us in a statement, quote, "We've built privacy in the camera for the glasses from the ground up. A capture LED that will blink bright white when you take a photo or video." Adding, "When people report content, it gets reviewed quickly and taken down if they find it violates bullying and harassment policies." Still, there has been a new push to ban the smart glasses in certain settings, with New York banning them in state courts and Philadelphia courts making a similar move. It all came after a judge in Los Angeles scolded Mark Zuckerberg's team for wearing Meta glasses during a high-profile trial. And some private businesses also taking action, like Comic-Con in the UK, saying recently, many attendees are, quote, not comfortable with the knowledge that other convention goers might be filming them without consent. But sales numbers tell a different story. Ray-Ban's owner said purchases of its AI glasses more than tripled in the last year to over 7 million pairs. The company did not respond to our request for comment. In the last year alone, Meta recruited A-list celebrities for major ad campaigns.
Hey, Meta, call my lawyer.
And new collaborations.
Hey, Meta, take a picture.
Advanced technology that once seemed a lifetime away.
Morning, Mr. Hunt.
But comes with complications that we're dealing with now.
Imagine how filthy the cameras are going to get. Not in terms of people are going to be filming filthy things. I imagine that will also occur. I imagine, that's going to be crazy, by the way. That will be a major thing. It'll be its own category on a lot of websites. It'll be like filmed with the meta lens or whatever. But like, we're talking about realistically. We're talking about people that are like, this is probably happening. I think that they're trying Google Glass again. I think they want the surveillance state to be issued in by people. They want it to be comfortable. They want it to be something. They don't want just your phone anymore. They want you to be the phone. They want your eyes to be the phone's camera. They want you to be an intimate part of the surveillance state. You're going to put this on your bed frame every night, not on your bed frame, on your bedside table, and it's going to watch you sleep at night, ladies and gentlemen. You have issued in the technocracy. You have issued in the tech surveillance state, and unfortunately, many of us didn't even realize that we were signing up for it. We just wanted to look cool. We just wanted the Ray-Bans. We just wanted to call our friends because apparently there's like an earpiece or something to where you can take calls on it, or I have no idea. I don't ever plan on getting a pair, but who knows? Maybe if Meta offers me a chunk of change, I'll start being in their ads with Kris Jenner. Ladies and gentlemen, we all know that's false. We all know I'd only do it with Caitlyn. We all know that I'd only ever do it with Caitlyn Jenner. Me and her are going to be playing golf, promoting Meta Ray-Bans glasses here in a few years. Ladies and gentlemen, speaking of Bruce, I'm late. We have a golf tournament today, so I have to get going. Ladies and gentlemen, I had a wonderful time gathering these stories for you. I hope you had a wonderful time listening to them. I hope that you will be joining us next week, Monday through Friday. We're going to give you the weekend to relax, and take a break, because I know that this show can be a lot. So in the meantime, I've been Ollie Vogt Larson with your brain on air. If you'd like to be there for our next broadcast, subscribe if you want more, like if you liked it, ring the bell for notifications. But in the meantime, see you in the next broadcast, and bye-bye.